Hello everyone, welcome to the live stream. Normally I do EVTN news on Monday evenings about the same time, but today Cardinal Cupich restricted the Latin Mass in his Archdiocese of Chicago. Is he really following in the footsteps of Cardinal Bernardine? I don't know. Would Cardinal Bernardine have cracked down the Latin Mass? Who knows? And so I'm going to be doing this today instead of EVTN news. EVTN will be, I don't know, Tuesday, Wednesday, somewhere around there. I'm just going to postpone it because this urgent news story came up. Now, I like to be the first to cover these topics. Unfortunately, for me, I saw that Taylor Marshall recorded a video on this just maybe about an hour ago, so he beat me to the punch. Sorry, I can't live stream when I'm at work, otherwise I would have. Um, I guess I could, but if I want to get fired. So that's that's how things work. But getting you the best news, and then we'll see what happens here. So I have a few links in the description for you to read. You can read it for yourself. Father Z had a pretty solid reaction to it, and he summed it up nicely. You can read the full document. I think it's like 5 PDF pages. Um, okay, so I'm going to read some clips for you, and we'll see what you think. Leave some comments if you're on the live stream or if you're watching this after the live stream. This is from the office of the Archbishop of Chicago, December 25th, 2021. So Merry Christmas, everyone. We're restricting your Mass. Um, Now, before I get started, recall that Cardinal Cupich left the USCCB meeting early in November to meet with Pope Francis. We were wondering why he did that. I'm not sure. I can't guarantee you this is what happened to talk about this specific topic, but just keep in mind as you're going through this, Cardinal Cupich is very close to Pope Francis. Not a lot of people like Cardinal Cupich in the United States. I don't think a lot of his fellow bishops really like him at all. And I'm not trying to spread gossip. That's sort of the impression that we're getting. But Pope Francis really seems to like him. Remember also that Cardinal Cupich was included in Vigano's report where he talked about the cardinals who were associated with McCarrick, the cardinals who got their positions because of the influence of Cardinal McCarrick, former Cardinal McCarrick. So just keep those things in mind that this is basically what Pope Francis wants. So I'm going to start here. It says there's just a small clip that I read from his sort of introduction. It's a whole page, but this little clip says, respecting the principle that the diocesan bishop is the moderator, promoter, and guardian of all liturgical life, Pope Francis, by issuing Traditionis Custodes, has returned competency to the local bishop for the regulation of the use of the liturgical forms antecedent to the Second Vatican Council as an exceptional concession. So antecedent means prior to. So the liturgical forms prior to the Second Vatican Council. And here we go, because Cardinal Cupich says that the diocesan bishop is in control of this. So it's entirely possible that other bishops could say, we're not restricting any of the Latin Masses. In fact, we're going to try to promote it. The only problem is you have to petition Rome for priests to say the Latin Mass. So at least new priests who want to say the Latin Mass. Okay, so we're getting into the provisions of the policy. I don't know if this is page 2 or what. Point 1, and some of these you got to kind of pick out some highlights of this. So point 1, as of January 25th, 2022, all priests, deacons, and instituted ministers need to request and receive permission from the Archbishop of Chicago to celebrate the Eucharist using the antecedent liturgy, that is the Roman Missal of 1962, either privately or publicly, all the while faithfully observing the other requirements of this policy. So he's saying that you need permission to privately say a Latin Mass, which is consistent with what the rotten directives from the Vatican. Private Mass is that in the history of the Church, has there ever been restrictions on priests saying private Masses? I don't know. I don't know if that's like. I would suspect, and I'm not in I don't know canon law, but I would suspect that this is not in compliance with divine law. That's just my thought. Um, Additionally, in making this request, they must explicitly affirm the validity and legitimacy of the liturgical reform, the teaching of the Second Vatican Council, and the magisterium of the Supreme Pontiffs, and demonstrate an appreciation of the value of concelebration, particularly at the Chrism Mass. So this is specifically targeting the Latin Mass communities, and particularly the Institute of Christ the King. Now, I think the Institute, um, I think that they say it's okay for their priests to celebrate at the Chrism Mass. I think this was a policy of the Institute of Christ the King prior to even like the Latin Mass restrictions in July. This is the information I was. This is the information I have obtained. I'm not 100% sure that it is like written down anywhere. I don't know. I know for sure the FSSP, they're they do not say that um, they will not celebrate the Chrism Mass, but they just don't. It's an unwritten policy that they will not celebrate the Chrism Mass, and so, but I don't think the FSSP is in the Archdiocese of Chicago. They do not have any churches in the Archdiocese of Chicago. The Institute does. The Institute has the Shrine of Christ the King Catholic Church in the Archdiocese of Chicago. I think it's pretty big. I've never been there, but they have a pretty full mass schedule, and we'll get to them in a little bit. We're going to move on to point two. The written request should, I think this is just a clip that I took. I'm not going to read through the whole document. The written request should note the average attendance at such celebrations, as well as their frequency and location, along with a statement of agreement to abide by the norms set forth by this document. While the rule found in the Responsa ad Dubia, that's the dubia that was just recently released, that it is not possible to grant by nation on the grounds there is no just cause or pastoral necessity is to be observed for weekdays, it also applies to Sundays. By nation, it refers to priests saying both the Latin Mass and the Novus Ordo on the same day, which Archbishop Roche, or Roche, or however you say it, he said that that's not possible. Now, I said, I don't think this applies to Sundays, but Cardinal Cupich is saying it does apply to Sundays. Cardinal Cupich is close to Pope Francis. Remember, I said that. So this is pretty much, I would say this is pretty much the thoughts of Pope Francis. You can't say the Novus Ordo and the Latin Mass on the same day. And so this is going to be used, to suppress Latin Masses by diocesan priests. There's just no way around it. Okay, Cardinal Cupich says, however, it may be that in some rare circumstances there is a just cause for which the Archbishop may grant the favor of by nation for Sundays. Okay, believe it when I see it, right? Call me a St. Thomas doubter. It's doubting Thomas, right? I'll believe it when I see it. Whenever I can attend the Latin Mass where priests had previously said the Novus Ordo, I'll believe that. I'll believe it when I can do that. All right. And moving on to point 5. A parish church can only be used for such celebrations if it is established that it is impossible to use another church oratory or chapel. Use of a parish church requires the Congregation for Divine Worship in the Vatican to grant this favor at the Archbishop's request. So any parish church, the diocesan priest, parish church, you have to have specific permission from Rome to use it. This is interpreted by Cardinal Cupich. Now, I don't want to get ahead of myself here, but I also want to say that because I've made the connection between Pope Francis and Cardinal Cupich's precedent that he sets on this is going to be implemented by the corrupt bishops around the United States. So this isn't the first. This is the first, but it's not the only one. I think most of the other corrupt bishops, and there are quite a few in the United States, they're going to implement these restrictions very similarly to Cardinal Cupich, I expect. Now, the good bishops, probably not. But when it comes down to maybe, I don't think they'll talk about this at the USCCB meeting at all. That's just my thought. Because for most of the bishops, they never say the Latin Mass. The Latin Mass is just something they say, okay, go ahead and there's people that want to go and there's priests that want to learn it, whatever. It doesn't, they feel like it's irrelevant for them. And so any of these specific restrictions or like crackdowns on the Latin Mass are just kind of like, oh, this is another thing I have to deal with. Like, why make my life so difficult? That's kind of their mentality, I would imagine. But there are particularly corrupt bishops. I think the ones that the corrupt bishops who are hostile towards the Latin Mass. I think there might be some demonic influence. Not saying they're possessed, but I mean, you look at these bishops that promote the pride masses, the rainbow stuff, and I mean, they're not Catholic. Anyway, let's move on to point 6. Priests in those groups that received permission from the Archbishop of Chicago to celebrate the Mass using Missal 1962 are bound on the first Sunday of the month to celebrate Mass only using the Missal of Paul VI. Every priest who is allowed to celebrate the Latin Mass is forced to celebrate the Novus Ordo only the Novus Ordo on the first Sunday of each month. That's horrific. This is rotten. I always request the faithless bishops to resign, but in this case, there's nothing I can do about Cupich. I mean, he's so locked in. Everyone could be against him, but it doesn't matter. Pope Francis on his side. That's pathetic. That's ridiculous. The Institute's really going to face, the Institute of Christ the King is going to face a decision in February. They will, and we'll see what happens. There's going to be a big showdown in about a month. Hopefully, I'll get to that at the end. If Latin is used, then the faithful should be provided the means to participate in the responses. So if they say a Novus Ordo in Latin, then they should be provided responses. The Mass is also ordinarily to be celebrated versus populum, unless permission is granted otherwise by the Archbishop. So you can't even say a reverent Novus Ordo. You have to say the irreverent Novus Ordo facing the people. How unbelievable is that? Now it says unless permission is granted otherwise by the Archbishop. Is he going to grant permission? But here, this is an unprecedented step. Because people have said, oh, well, it might be a good thing if the Institute or the FSSP celebrates the Novus Ordo because they'll be able to say a reverent Novus Ordo. Yeah, not so much. They're not. See, the thing is, they're not just attacking the Latin Mass. They're attacking the reverent Mass. That's what it's all about. It's taking away the reverence. It's not about necessarily the Latin, the old rite. It's about the practices that come along with it. So if you look at old rite baptisms, there's 3 exorcisms. They took that away in the Novus Ordo. Now you can't. Some bishops are going to try to shut down old rite baptisms. Many have. And why is that? Do they not like the exorcisms? Demonic. Additionally, all celebrations of the Church's liturgies on Christmas, the Triduum, Easter Sunday, and Pentecost Sunday are to use exclusively liturgical books promulgated by St. Pope Paul VI, St. Pope John Paul II, either in the vernacular or in Latin, and ordinarily versus populum, unless permission is granted otherwise by the Archbishop. So the 3 holiest days of the year, I heard that the 3 holiest days of the year are Easter, Pentecost, Christmas. No Latin Mass allowed. And the Triduum, no Latin Mass allowed. That's ridiculous. The intention of these requirements is to foster and make manifest the unity of this local church, as well as to provide all Catholics in the Archdiocese an opportunity to offer a concrete manifestation of the acceptance and the teaching of the Second Vatican Council and its liturgical books. I don't know. Now, Cardinal Cupich, I believe, he locked some traditionalists out of their church. When he was Bishop of Spokane, Washington, he locked them out during the Triduum, so they couldn't say the old rite. So this isn't a surprise coming from Cardinal Cupich. Either in the vernacular or in Latin. I don't know. Now, another thing, the liturgical calendar, it's kind of funny with the Mass on the first Sunday has to be a Novus Ordo, so you go from, what is it, the Sunday after Pentecost. So, like, in the Latin, the traditional rite, after Pentecost, they have like first Sunday after Pentecost, second Sunday after Pentecost. Novus Ordo rite is called ordinary time. And so you go from Sunday after Pentecost to the first Sunday after Pentecost, second Sunday in ordinary time, third Sunday after Pentecost. It doesn't make any sense. 9. All other sacraments are to be celebrated using the liturgical books promulgated by St. Pope Paul VI and St. Pope John Paul II. Notice how they always try to make saints because they try to canonize Vatican II. These rites may be celebrated in Latin. Permission to use the Ritual Romanum prior to liturgical reform, 1952, for the celebration of other sacraments may be granted by the Archbishop on a case-by-case basis. Requests for permission must be made exclusively on behalf of groups of the faithful authorized to celebrate the Eucharist following the Missale Romanum of 1962. The priest making... Okay. So the priest making such a request should first discuss with the faithful the possibility of using the reformed liturgical rites, which may be celebrated in Latin with proper catechesis of the faithful. Oh, so here it is. Let me read this next sentence and then I'll comment on this. He must keep in mind the value of seeking the good of those who are rooted in the previous rite, but also demonstrate that he is accompanying them towards the common use of the one lex orandi of the Roman rite. All right, so the Institute of Christ the King Priest, who is ordained to say specifically the sacraments, administer the sacraments in the old rite. He's going to talk to the people. They say, can I have an old rite baptism for my baby? And he would say, well, I'm really supposed to express to you the propaganda of Vatican II and how awesome the new rite sacrament of baptism is because it excludes these exorcisms. Your baby's fine. The eternal life's not important. Baptism isn't necessary for salvation. Yeah, okay. Okay, so then the last sentence here. No permission will be given to use the Pontificale Romanum predating the liturgical reform of the Second Vatican Council as it has been abrogated. So what this means is, so you can use the Rituale Romanum. It contains liturgies for celebrating the sacraments of baptism, penance, matrimony, and extreme unction. 4 sacraments. The Pontificale Romanum, which Cardinal Cupich says, no, can't use that at all. It has rites for confirmation, the ordinations of bishops, priests, deacons, and includes the minor orders. So no old rite confirmations and no old rite ordinations. That's what that means. So the Institute's really going to face, they're going to face a huge decision here. What are they going to do? Are they going to resist? It's going to be up to the prior, the superior of the Institute of Christ the King. How's he going to push back? Or are they just going to kind of try to get along with what they're doing? That's assuming they're going to apply for permission. There's no question about that. They'll apply through the Archdiocese and through the Vatican for permission to say all these sacraments. I mean, they've already picked their path. And I haven't been able to make a judgment or a determination on whether they're doing the right thing or not. I know a lot of people have a lot of opinions on that. Taylor Marshall did, Tim Gordon. A lot of people are going back and forth on that. If they're going to push it to the edge, and then they're going to make their decision. And whether that's going with Cardinal Cupich, the Vatican, or they're going to, I don't know, maybe they will be granted faculties to do everything that they normally do. I don't know. So we'll see if their decision was good or bad, and I'll make a judgment at that point. I know that people like strong opinions. This is a terrible decision. I don't know. Like I said, I don't know what's going to happen. They have more of an insight on what's going to happen than I do, and they probably have more of a game plan for their religious community because they're in it. This is their life. It's not my life is not the Institute of Christ the King, and so I don't have the inside information that they do. I'm just going to defer to them, see what they do. In the meantime, contact your local SSPX. Um, Now, St. John Cantius is a very interesting, unique situation. St. John Cantius, they do both the Reverent Novus Ordo and the Latin Mass, and they have a lot of priests there. I believe it's called the Canons Regular of St. John Cantius, and so they have available priests to say both the Novus Ordo and the Latin Mass every day. So they offer both the Novus Ordo and the Latin Mass every day. And on Sundays, I think they have like 2 or 3 Novus Ordos and 2 Latin Masses. So they released a statement. The Canons Regular, they already released a statement. It says, on our community's feast day, December 23rd, I had an audience with His Eminence, Cardinal Cupich. I took the occasion of our meeting to assure His Eminence that the Canons Regular are committed to preserving the unity with him and the Roman Pontiff. There he outlined the archdiocesan policy released today concerning the implementation of Traditionis Custodes. His Eminence indicated he wants the work of the Canons Regular to continue, albeit within the boundaries established by the archdiocesan policy to take effect January 25th, 2022. So all this says is that they met with Cardinal Cupich, and Cardinal Cupich said, "Oh yeah, you're doing some great work. You know, all that diocesan tax is looking pretty nice because of all the parishioners that are coming to Reverent Liturgy. So we want you to keep doing what you're doing, as long as it's within the confines of Traditionis Custodes. Okay." And I'm sure, I mean, they should be able to see right through that. Hopefully they do. They said, we, like many of you, received this news with no little sadness, but we also recognize the challenge before us to live more fully our charism as outlined in our constitutions. We have always recognized that the core of our apostolate, our very purpose, is to restore the sacred. We do this through the celebration of our church's liturgical tradition, contained in both the Roman Missal promulgated by St. Paul VI as well as the Missal promulgated by St. John Paul the 20th, or St. John the 23rd for those who have ties to it. We will be petitioning His Eminence for various permissions. The Cardinal has encouraged us to do so. We'll see what happens. In this moment, we are prayerfully discerning how to be a bridge for unity in the life of the Church by faithfully implementing the archdiocesan policy in accord with our spiritual and pastoral patronage, as well as the guidance of the Archbishop of Chicago, and at the same time remain faithful to our mission. We invite you to accompany us on this discernment. Did they really write this? Come on. We invite you to accompany us on this discernment by joining us in a Rosary Novena beginning January 25th, 2022. We pray that the Virgin Mother, who said yes to our Lord, helps us to follow the will of her Son and the Church He founded. We will observe these 9 days, ending on the Feast of her Purification, Candlemas Day. Throughout this novena, our hearts will be fixed on Mary's, whose heart was also pierced, and who will ultimately say to us, as she told the wedding guests at Cana, pointing to her Son, do whatever He tells you. So they're going to be following Jesus Christ instead of Cardinal Cupich. Hopefully, I don't know. It says, very prayerfully in Christ, very Reverend Joshua Caswell of the Society of St. John Cantius. Okay, what do you think? Oh boy. So if Cardinal Cupich says, well, sorry guys, can't say the Latin Mass, and by the way, you're not approved for ad orientem either. You got to set up a folding table in your sanctuary and use that as an altar facing the people. What are they going to do? What are you going to say? Because what does it mean to restore the sacred? It means the Latin Mass. That's what it means. There are about 8 churches in the Archdiocese that at least periodically offer the Latin Mass. I did a quick search. I'm not 100% sure on that. So that means there's probably at least 8 priests in the Archdiocese who say the Latin Mass. They're not going to have, I mean, what are their chances on being approved to say a Latin Mass? Pretty close to 0. There is an SSPX chapel. It's called Our Lady Immaculate Church. And that's going to be filling up. And unfortunately for us, for the rest of us who don't live in Chicago, um, the SSPX is going to be in high demand in Chicago. There's a lot of people that live there, and there's probably some demand for the Latin Mass there. All right, thanks for joining me on the live stream here. Jeanette, Cardinal Cupich is also the one that went after Father Altman. Yeah, yeah. So a lot of people are watching Taylor Marshall's video. I didn't watch it. Sorry, I was preparing for this video and then I saw that you had posted it and I was like, ah. There's definitely demonic infiltration. Uh, okay. Oh, there's a troll here saying we abandoned our local parish. What about the other way? Did our local parish abandon us? What do they talk about the local parish? They talk about being stewards of the environment. They talk about salvation of souls. You know, it's worldly diocesan parishes lockstep with the globalists. The left loves to claim the liturgical reform is the Mass of Vatican II and banned Ad Orientem, even though neither is true. There you go. I mean, Ad Orientem is sort of like, I don't know, it's sort of like what a lot of people think is the intention of Vatican II. FSSP says they took the oath upon ordination to uphold the Constitution of the Confraternity. All right. RR says they are absolutely going to excommunicate the SSPX in a few months to a year if it grows. Yeah, that's what I've been saying all along. The SSPX isn't like it's not going to be like the ideal place because they're going to be excommunicated. Now they will have the old mass, but and people say bring on the excommunication, but I say that's bad. Like you don't want excommunication, even if it's from corrupt popes. You know, you don't want to be excommunicated. You just don't want to be. So some of the saints have died under excommunication, but it's not ideal, right? Dialogue, their favorite word. Aren't they already still suspended? I have no idea. I don't know anything. I don't know. It's just things are moving so fast here. That's why I had to postpone the EVTN news. Check out the liturgical deform Chicago Mass that Catholic Stat posted on Twitter from the Faith Community of Saint Sabina. Oh, is that the ones in the native headdresses doing the drumming and the dancing, the native dancing in the church? Yeah, how ridiculous is that? I was actually going to talk about that on EVTN, but I'll talk about it right now. The native dancers, like there were people that were saying, oh, this is what they do in Mexico, and I'm saying like, what? Like, why would you want that at mass? Like you shouldn't have that at mass. You shouldn't have that in a church. You can have that outside of mass, outside of the church. I mean, if you want to do that and dress up and do that stuff, I mean, if it is it a liturgical, is it not a liturgical tradition, but is it a tradition in Mexico? I don't know. But you can have the native dances, you can have the LMNOP masses, but you can't have a Latin mass. You need permission for that. But if Father James Martin wants to put on his rainbow vestments and bless LMNOP people, you're not going to hear a thing from the Vatican. But if a priest wants to say the Latin mass, a private Latin mass by himself, oh, anathema! You're going to get censured from Rome. Okay. Um, St. John Cantius doesn't even have a Luther table. Well, you can always, Cupich can always order them to set up a folding table in the middle of their sanctuary. What are the priests going to do about that? The priests that say Mass ad orientem, are they going to push back on that if their bishop says you can't say ad orientem Mass? Some bishops have already banned it. I believe the bishop in Boise, Idaho, he said that ad orientem is banned. This was like years ago, and I was like, this is sacrilege. Like, not sacrilege. I don't know. I don't know if it's sacrilege, but I would say like it's ridiculous. The bishop and I said he should resign, and someone said, "Oh, you're extreme." Well, no, they're trying to take away reverence. That's what it's all about, right? Okay, where did I leave off here? Anyone have a nice house with a basement? Take in these traditional priests. They'll figure it out. They join these religious orders in Ecclesia Dei to be in communion with Rome, and this is what you get. You know, they're gonna have to make their own decisions. I mean, it's not most of them understand it's not a comfortable lifestyle, and it's gonna be even more uncomfortable, maybe just temporarily, hopefully temporarily, very temporarily. Hopefully, we get a Catholic Pope at some point. Maybe we have one though, right? There's one who's not really spoken up. Someone speaks. Someone has been speaking for him the past 8 years. Hmm. Anyway, well, Our Lady of Fatima was right. What exactly did she say in the third secret, though, people? Absolutely no pagan ceremonies in the house of God. Well, that would be good. This world is not ideal. The Pope is working on one world religion for the headquarters. Did you see my video on that in Dubai? Did you see my video on that? Check it out. I did like the screenshots and everything. It was pretty interesting. I'm interested in like geography and stuff, so it was pretty enlightening for me when I did the research. Saint Sabina is a different church. This one had strobe lights, dance, and all kinds of crazy stuff. They're going to ban all communion on the tongue universally next. Well, are the priests going to stand up for us? I sure hope so. Um, communion on the Communion on the tongue is not in keeping with the spirit of liturgical deform in Vatican II as a sign of communion. What is that? Communion in the hand. They're gonna, yeah. I don't know. I think the next step, especially with the synod on synodality, remember that's still in the works. I think the next step is to invite the Protestants to communion. I think that's the next step. And if you, this is a little bit speaking a little more on the synod on synodality. If you have a chance to speak at your diocese for like a listening session or something on the synod, go do it. Go speak. Don't be like. I don't think you should start out being really angry. Don't get fired up. I get fired up sometimes on here. But like maybe write something in advance and then just speak. You know, say something like, that a lot of people aren't going to just say, "Oh, well, this person is just super angry and whatever," and just write you off. You do something that, say something that's like meaningful and talk about the doctrines of the Catholic faith. Maybe say how you like the Latin Mass and you're just disappointed that it's being banned and canceled, and the old rite sacraments are really powerful, and you can highlight the positives and then also highlight the necessity of the Catholic faith. I mean, you can do that. I don't really know how we move forward. I think the SSPX is going to, do some of this stuff, but we also need some of our Institute FSSP priests to stand up. We need them to resist. And at what point do they resist? I mean, look at this. Look at what Cardinal Cupich did. And tell me when the FSSP or the Institute's going to resist things like this. And I don't know the answers. You don't know the answers. What's going to set them over the, what's going to push them over the edge? This is what Vatican II did. It's the gradual steps. I think at first Vatican II was so radical that people like Archbishop Lefebvre, but it's crazy that he's one of the only ones that saw it. I mean, there's like communion, or what was it? Group, like reconciliation services. What is it? General absolution? Is that what it's called? They were doing that in like the 70s, the early 70s, and I was like, whoa, this is crazy. Archbishop Lefebvre was saying something about it, but how many other people were speaking out against this? I mean, a lot of the bishops embraced that kind of stuff, which is insane. Do they not have supernatural faith, or were they just using the bishop, the position of bishop as a stepping stone in their careers, so that they could get access to all the diocesan funds? Yeah, I don't know, but it's going to be interesting to see where we go from here. Are there going to be any good bishops that stand up for us? That's gonna be tough to count on any of them, really, because most of them say the Novus Ordo every day. And whenever you're in that mentality, and then the bishop says, or bishop or pope says you can't say the Novus, or you can't say the Latin Mass, what do? You say, oh well, I'll just say a reverent Novus Ordo. What is a reverent Novus Ordo? Does it include communion in the hand? Does it have altar rails? Does it have Eucharistic ministers? Does it have lay lectors, altar girls? What is a reverent Novus Ordo? And do you allow some of that stuff to desensitize you from the sacred? Because that's certainly a possibility. And for the priests, if they say the Novus Ordo every day, And you say, well, you're taking away one Mass a week. How many of them are going to fight back? I would expect very few, unfortunately. But that's just my thoughts. Let me know your thoughts. And check out the links in the description. I leave that for you so you can read that stuff. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. This has been exclusive presentation of John the Son of Thunder, breaking news story. And whenever these happen, I'll give you more coverage of this stuff. But anyway, thank you so much for watching. We are the laity, and we will not be silent.